Hi, Faith family. As many of you are aware, recently there have been a series of allegations made about me from 17 years ago. I'd like to briefly address the situation. A few months ago, I was approached by a church close to my hometown in Tennessee, where my parents and all my family still live, to become their senior pastor. I informed them that I was not interested in leaving Berean, but I would consider their request given the proximity to my family. During the process, my name was released as a candidate. As a result, a small group of individuals from outside that church attempted to stop the church from recruiting me. When the allegations were made, I suspended further consideration of becoming their pastor. Now it is no longer under consideration. They accused me of pastoral abuse based on events that occurred 17 years ago when I was a single young man working as a youth leader at a church in Indiana. They have widely circulated the statements of Megan and Joanna, whom I dated with the permission of their parents when they were 18 years old. I agree with some of the facts alleged in the statements and deeply regret the hurt I caused. But some of the allegations are not true. The Bible directs God's people to take their grievances first to the person accused. And if that person won't listen, to try again and bring a witness. If the person still won't listen, then take it to the church. The group circulating these allegations did not bring them to me. Rather, they took them directly to the church in Tennessee. And not being satisfied with the church's response, they've taken them to Berean and now the general public. I and others have reached out to them several times, seeking an opportunity to hear their grievances and to answer them. Subject to their approval, I proposed a meeting with an independent mediator to ensure that all concerns could be fully heard and understood, and to help us strive for reconciliation. They declined to talk, saying, quote, "The use of Matthew 18 as a means to silence your victims will not stand," close quote. Meanwhile, having not spoken to me for 17 years, they organized to destroy my reputation and career. I remain fully willing to address and apologize for any concerns whenever they are willing to talk. I am pleased that Berean has hired independent investigators to investigate these allegations, and I look forward to having the opportunity to speak with them. Meanwhile, my family and I are facing serious and withering attacks. Most are from people who never heard of me until the allegations were brought to their attention. Many are vicious, some have been threatening. The situation is unhealthy for my family and maybe not even safe. Meanwhile, Berean must stay focused on its gospel mission to this community and to the world. Therefore, the elders and I have mutually agreed that I take a leave of absence while the investigation is underway. In closing, there's a reason that God has placed a call on my life to preach the gospel. And that's because, as I've taught you many times, I daily need the gospel. As John Newton, the author of Amazing Grace, once said, "I'm not what I ought to be. I'm not what I want to be. I'm not what I one day will be, but I'm not what I was. And by the grace of God, I am what I am."
Okay, I'm going to read two statements from the elders. The first one is available on social media. Berean was founded in 1963 on the gospel of Jesus Christ as described in the Holy Bible. Lord willing, we will always be faithful through his life, death, and resurrection through loving obedience. We are called to see our lives, our community, and our world transformed by the power of the gospel, and Lord willing, we will remain on mission always. The Berean elders were recently made aware of claims made about Pastor Wes Feltner from years ago. We understand the nature of these claims and we take them very seriously. Also, please realize that there are conflicting views of events and circumstances. We are performing due diligence, and this will take some time. This due diligence is an element of due process, and it does include fact-finding. It will be complete, and it will be prompt, but it will not be hasty. We have engaged outside, neutral, experienced professionals to perform this due diligence. When this is complete, we will assess the implications and potential remedies and decide together as elders what is appropriate. The Berean elders will communicate as appropriate during this process, but we expect that communication to be minimal, as is normal in these circumstances. Please do not take silence as anything other than there's a due diligence process underway and that it is not finished. In the meanwhile, we are called to remain faithful to Jesus and his calling on our lives, and we in all of Berean will do so, Lord willing. In loving obedience and faithful service to him, the Berean elders. Please know, with Pastor Wes on leave, Pastor Tony Manning will preach these next couple weeks and be followed by Pastor Roger Thompson. We are truly blessed to have these pastors available. We know that this is a lot to absorb,